were suffering a little bit in the Ryze group, but have since pulled themselves together. We'll see what they can do here as we get into the draft for game number 1 of Play-ins Round 1. Win here, and you are straight to the playoffs, but you need to win 3 games in this series. 3 games out of the 5 that will definitely be played. You heard it here first. Make sure you set aside the time for 5 games. Probably 5 or 6 hours is what you're going to require. Get yourself some snacks. Get yourself some water. Make sure you stay hydrated. And, take breaks and use the bathroom when we're between games and things like that. And I think that everyone is going to be very, very happy during this exceptionally long series. Let's get into it here as we see Syndra, Cassiopeia, and Orianna all banned away from the mid lane. There are a bunch of junglers still left available as the Lee Sin is a priority ban.
Yeah, and KT is setting up for a Ryze first pick, I think, with the Syndra ban here. HANJIN BRION have gone heavy on mid lane bans. I mean, Cassiopeia and Orianna typically expected, but will they let him get the Ryze? They ban the Vi. It feels like KT probably just going to slam the Ryze in here. As you said, there are some good junglers available, but I think Vi is the most prominent one that needs to be banned.
Yep. Nocturne has been very strong as well, but the Ryze will be the slam. I imagine that the bros will take the guy that's the living light switch. But Lucian will be picked up first, perhaps, for Teddy. This has been a very powerful pick for him specifically.
And I think this is showing the priority differences between these teams. Space kind of talked about it. The solo lanes from KT have been on a tab. HANJIN BRION, it's been the bot lane. And getting that Lucian early for Teddy, a big pickup. One concern, though, by going the Lucian on 1 and then the Jarvan on 2, you're kind of locked into the Milio on 3.
Yeah.
And that means KT, they can pick... They can either match the bot lane here, or they can choose to go for top lane, and it's going to be really difficult to counter perfect. They go for the Nocturne in this situation. Olaf feels a little bit uncomfortable just because the Jarvan's there, but you could pick it still, and it looks like Perfect's looking to do so.
And this is almost exactly what KT beat T1 with just last week. In that game number 1, this is part of that drop. They will not be able to pick the rest of it. It was Ezreal Seraphine in the bottom lane. But this has been just basically cream of the crop for all of these lanes so far. Nocturne especially, how they got that in that last series, I have absolutely no idea. But I guess they managed to get it again, so it must have gone something like this. As that Milio you were talking about is going to be locked in. To see Namgung on this one. Kind of makes me upset that we're not seeing Namgung on a more aggressive pick. But still, this bottom lane is just too strong to pass up, and that is where they're going to go. So some solo lanes required here for the bros, and some Olaf safety bans to come on through here for KT.
And I think for the bot lane, there's things like K-Bard, which can be very powerful into this. There's like Yunara Lulu, and they will just ban away the Lulu there. So I think hammering away some of those pairings is valuable. There could be the prospect if even like a Kalista Renata could be strong, but we'll see. And KT's trying to bang away the top laners. Banning the Cassante, we did actually see a Cassante into the Olaf towards the season end that did very well.
Clear versus Kingen or something like that. I think it was one of those matchups.
I think so. But like we've seen so many of these top lane counters into Olaf struggle, and without attention, not necessarily find the success they needed. But the Cassante actually had a really solid game there, so taking that one away, making a lot of sense.
Yeah, so now will it be Kled, Jax, any of these choices here for casting? We'll just have to see whether they do want to put any more focus in that top lane. Mid lane and answers to the Ryze have been largely sorted out here with the Orianna and Cassiopeia, but the Galio will be leaving the Rift as well. Actually would have been pretty phenomenal to pick up something like a Camille and a Galio here for the bros, so I like the Gargoyle ban in that instance.
Yep, and we've been seeing more of that Camille top lane into the Olaf. Sometimes successful, sometimes not successful.
It's been something that casting's been playing more recently as well.
Yeah, and now he's toying with what he wants to take in the top lane between Jax and Kled, and he does go for the Kled.
Oh,
you can see that win rate 50%. Like I talked about with Camille, it has worked at times and it's not worked at times. Some of the players not piloting it as well as you'd hope, and casting's been really solid.
Yep,
so far this season. So expectation is he should be able to do pretty good on that pick. Now, the KT bot lane, I feel like one thing is that Nautilus also feels a bit uncomfortable into Jarvan. Just the terrain kind of makes it hard to do your job, but it keeps Lucian accountable. If you know the main character in the enemy team is the AD carry, and they're on a Lucian who's a short-range pick, Nautilus does make it very hard to play in team fights. But now the question is, what are you going to pair that up with?
Nautilus
at the MF.
Fortune.
This is interesting to have in the first draft of a series, but they want something that's going to give them a strong laning phase. There's a good amount of threat against these short-range picks that HANJIN BRION has so far. And I think Misfortune pretty straightforward to play when it comes to AD carries. I think there could have been some more high-variance bot lanes. That being said, one thing is that if you get Cataclysms, you are just trapped there.
Oh, that would be a kind of fun one if you went for the Silas. But instead, the Anivia, bit of a classic one into the Ryze.
I actually think this is such a good pick here because there are so many champions on the enemy team who don't play well into Anivia. I already talked about, you know, the struggles of Olaf and Nautilus into the terrain of the Jarvan. You've just added more terrain in there. And on top of that, into Ryze, this is a counter matchup that we've seen kind of slipping away from the meta. Teams haven't been as willing to pick it, but I think this is such a good spot for Roma to pick it up. That being said, he is matching into BDD. BDD prioritizing this Ryze. We've seen players like Chovy heavily prioritize it and have fantastic results. So a lot of weight on his shoulders to make this Anivia pick get the value that it can in this draft.
And the last time we saw a draft like this for KT, yes, the bottom lane is completely different, but KT, like BDD himself, was just gigantic. His Ryze, unbelievable. I think that this is a pick that does need to be respected. We'll see whether the bros can actually play around it or whether he will just hit Actualizer at about 20 minutes into the game and do way more damage than the bros are capable of mitigating. It's just kind of ridiculous what this guy can do on this champion. We'll see whether Roma can actually fight back against it. But I think the bottom lane is where most of the bros' focus is going to be, getting the Fountain Laser up and running. As we have a look, ladies and gentlemen, these are your drafts and your teams for game number 1 of this best of 5, our first of the play-ins. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, under the rip for game number 1, Bro versus KT. Let's see who can find the first advantage in this one. Having a look at the early game, Aux, where are we thinking? Do we feel like the bros have an advantage? Do we feel like KT are looking good?
I think KT really want to be looking towards the level 6 when they have the Nocturne and the Ryze online. Obviously, Anivia is a bit static as a mid laner, so you can really impact the side lanes there. But even before 6, I think top lane has the potential to be a real big focus. We've seen how this Kled Olaf matchup can swing one way or another, so if Gideon can get access there early and shut down Perfect, that could definitely start this game well. We've also seen that barrier tech from Kled that we've seen a little bit. Kind of works similar in a way to the Warwick, where it gives you the time to sustain back up. Obviously, unlike Warwick, it's not healing, you remount, but it's the same concept of keeping you alive so you can get that health back and stay safe in the longer trades.
So just down here, speaking of trades, Effort taking a fair bit of damage as Teddy with his Ardent Blaze online at level 1. We have seen a few different things with some dash first Lucians and things like this to come on through, but Ardent Blaze has been a tried and true option. It's casting and Perfect. This is a really fun matchup. Here, of course, they were playing behind one another on KT only, about a year or two ago. And in Challenger especially, where they did spend a lot of time in the same roster, just trading places.
Times last year where we saw Casting subbed in for Perfect, and I think he really struggled to hit the level of performance he has this year, but the same is also true for Perfect. I think Perfect had struggles last year, and his form this year so far has been much higher, even though obviously like the Olaf in team fights. So I think Bro put more trust in their solo laners maybe than KT has in their bot lane, put more emphasis on them making this game a win.
They do have some pretty good lanes, though, as far as what the tier list says and, what people have been going for as far as counter picks. So the Bros probably pretty happy there, but you're right. I think that it really needs to come down to player skill and being able to make this one work. And so far, so good. Everything is just even, but it's 2.5 minutes into the game, and so that means that nothing has really really done anything just yet. Gideon and Cuzz just still getting through their first clears. And we'll see whether they do meet one another here towards this bottom side. We can see Effort already roaming up that river, trying to get some information down. That's a good trade there from Roma, who does also get the Electrocute proc, but BDD upset about that, just walks after him, and we'll be able to do a lot of damage here to the bird.
Yeah, having the egg means pretty safe to go for those trades, but definitely playing around the Electrocute is big with how much damage it does early. I'll say any time that sort of nothing really happens in a jungle matchup and you're playing Nocturne, you're feeling really happy about it. You're like, just give me time. Just let me play for my ultimate. And now we saw some pings coming out from GIDEON. It looked like he was maybe going to challenge the Raptors, but he doesn't have the mid prio. Cuzz is there. He is a pretty safe pick when it comes to Jarvan. Actually, he didn't get spotted here.
Oh, wow. BDD could be in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't have a lot of mana left, but does have Flash and Ghost. Let's see whether the wall works. Perfect placement there from Roman, but doesn't get the stun. They just get the Ghost out of BDD, who is now just going to go back home.
Yeah, good moves from BDD to get away from that one. And actually, it was really unfortunate because if you look at the angle GIDEON took, Cuzz was right at the Raptors, but didn't spot him. And that always gives you the semblance of safety. When you have your jungler right there, you're like, there's no way the enemy jungler is going to come from that route. But BDD read the play and just had to use Ghost to avoid the gank, which I think is so weird.
Ooh, nice little anchor here from Effort as Jiwoo is taking a lot of damage towards his bottom side. Even the fire kick hitting him there, putting him down to about 300 health. So, Bro certainly playing well here in this lane. Get the barrier out from Jiwoo here as the Cozy Campfire comes down. BDD is booking it towards his bottom lane, though. The Bros need to be very careful as Namgung without the heal, but does flash to try and get out of the way. And now it's Teddy that's in a lot of trouble. BDD deals with the Milio first. Effort is now going low, but Teddy, even through the barrier, will not survive. And KT pick up 2 thanks to their mid laner.
Such a good move here from BDD. Find the opportunity to go bot lane and shut down Teddy and Namgung. Given over, unfortunately, it's a kill for Effort, but getting a kill himself. And you just look at the position where they're so overextended, they're not tracking BDD. Namgung is so dead at this point. Even with the flash, there was just no way he's getting out. And Teddy just tries to turn it around, but you just cannot cut through the aftershock from the Nautilus, the shield as well. The damage isn't quite there yet. End result, as you look mid lane, what did BDD lose? He's going to be a little bit behind in farm after that wave gets cleared, but with a kill in pocket, he's very happy with how that passage of play went.
Absolutely, and a Ryze that gets ahead in the early game is a very happy Ryze indeed. And we know what BDD is capable of if he makes it later in the game with that, as the anchor does come out here. Teddy looking for some more aggression onto Jiwoo, though. BF sword in hand here for this misfortune.
That was a good buy for the misfortune. I will say, though, I appreciate that Teddy is still playing the lane pretty aggressive. I think some players can sort of default into going passive after getting ganked like that, but you need to keep the pressure on in this lane. Just be respectful of the roam threat from BDD, and when Cuzz gets his ult available, you can see that GIDEON was hovering down the bot side, but it's just reset. But forcing it back from Jiwoo means that Teddy may be able to pick up some damage in the tower heal, though he's already back. This is the thing with Misfortune. The passive, combined with the fact that we have home guard so early,
yep,
so hard to push out a lane. And Jiwoo is really utilizing that. You've seen a couple of times where he gets chunked out and just resets, runs back, resets, runs back. And as long as they don't kill you, that's a fine play to do again and again, because it's really hard to actually make the Misfortune miss a lot from that.
And you can see is within 5 CS of Teddy as well, as those lanes do equalize. So that is proof that it's working out here. Wasn't able to purchase anything, I think just got himself 1 pot when he went back, but no harm, no foul. Casting back towards his top side. He's got a tunneler and a sword, not with any shoes just yet, outside of perfect here with his brown bags. And Casting hasn't been necessarily putting on the pressure, but isn't falling behind in this lane just yet. How do we adjudicate this? Do we feel like this is the Kled not doing enough, or do we think this is fine for right now?
I think it's okay. I think Olaf has a lot of struggles in his team composition. We've definitely seen our Kleds go the wrong direction in this matchup. So I think the fact that Casting has a bit of an XP lead and is pressuring, even though he hasn't generated a large farm lead, he is pressuring Perfect, not allowing him to farm easily. He's having to farm his axes. I think it's perfectly fine.
All right. Not going too badly here, as we do have the ultimate ready for Jiwoo now. Level 6 to come down for the Misfortune. Just proof that he has been able to get back to lane quickly enough, because he manages to make it to level 6 before anybody else here in this bottom lane. It looks like Teddy and Namgung should be able to get there pretty quickly. See whether they can put on some aggression. Cuzz with level 6 himself, actually pretty close to 7 on the Nocturne. Paranoia at the ready, and the Bros have to be very careful at how this match is going to go from now on, because the Nocturne can just always be there.
Yeah, it makes it so much harder to just play the lanes out if there's that constant threat. Speaking of playing the lanes out, BDD is not having so much fun now. Roma has access to the ult.
Yeah, Roma
and the damage is really starting to hit.
Catalyst at the ready. BDD without his quite yet. Needs to pick up a few more rocks before he is able to collect that. It's perfect, like you were talking about, farming with some axes. And Casting just trying to put Perfect in a bear trap on a rope. Still one of the weirdest ability names that we have here in League of Legends.
Yeah.
Because it could have just been Bear Trap. Why do we have to stipulate that it's on a rope?
Well, it is on a rope.
Well, I mean, that's true. But there's a lot of things. Like, like piercing light from a gun we could have also had.
Maybe that would clear things up a little bit more.
That might be a good point.
Is piercing light, you know, it could be a Leona ability. But if you say from a gun, then it's definitely not.
That's a really good point. An effort could be dredge line from an anchor with a chain. Bit wordy. Perfect going to come down and help Cuzz out as they look to take the grubs. GIDEON very upset with this one. You can see he's lurking in the area, but it looks like the bros are not going to be able to contest it this time around. Might be able to get one. Nope, there is a smite there for Cuzz, so that is 3 for 3 on the grubs so far for KT.
Yeah, no dragon picked up so far. I think both teams just a little concerned that they don't have to complete. Oh,
that is a Realm Warp. Namgung is going to have to get out of there. The bullet time's too good, though. And Jiwoo is going to cut him down for a 3rd kill for KT.
BDD just doing great work, fishing for these roam opportunities and knowing that, you know, Roma isn't actually going to be able to follow on the Anivia.
A little bit unfortunate.
A little bit unfortunate, that is for sure. And he's just picking up kills in the bot lane, causing issues. This Realm Warp angle was great. The fact you're already paired up with effort, so you have the opportunity to move anywhere. And the fact that they get this play to successfully work without even needing the Nocturne. Cuzz is just farming, he's built up a bit of a CS lead, but that threat of the Paranoia is still there. Because if you go for that play and you burn the Paranoia, then it'll definitely be successful, but there's that window where it's unavailable. Now you just have that constant pressure threat from Cuzz, and yet you're still making plays happen. Still finding advantages on the map. Yeah,
and now everybody else has to be wary of what this Nocturne is going to be able to do. There's a plate that goes down in this mid lane. That is something. But otherwise, it is all KT so far in this early game. About an 800, 700 gold lead as they look to tidy up these waves.
One of the things with Lucian that we've seen when it was Lucian Nami, we've seen when it's Lucian Milio, is that he's very good at controlling the wave and having mid-prior when it gets to the mid-game. Like normally we see the bot lanes get set up in mid, he just chunks out the enemy AD carry, they have to back off. With MF going for a Bloodthirster first, as she normally does, it becomes so much harder to actually make any of that pressure stick. So the fact that the lane is in a good spot for Jiwoo so far, it's already in a great position. Now ulting in.
We are charging. They do get on top of the Olaf, and the culling is going to give him a back massage. Teddy grabs a kill as a result. And the bros are on the board.
Great angle there, and great swap up there from Teddy and Namgung to find an opportunity to punish Perfect, get both of his summoner spells, and get some damage down on this tower. It's obviously going to be traded on the bot side of the map, but considering BDD's impact in the bot lane and just, you know, finding windows to roam down and punish them, I think it's better for Bro that they kind of end the laning phase a bit earlier.
Yeah, this is going to be first turret going over to KT. They have 3 grubs. And they have Jiwoo down here already, as casting is going to show up, but he should be ushered away. Wants to be able to get as much of this farm as possible. With GIDEON coming on over, maybe he can. Paranoia comes in, effort taking a lot of damage. We need the Skull to get the work done, and he is going to be able to do that. Gets off his mount, and now Jiwoo's in a lot of trouble. Casting charging up that bar. He should have the dinosaur back again, as look at this shotgun working. He remounts, and now he's looking for Cuzz. GIDEON should be able to take care of this MF, and down she will go, and the bros even the scoreline and claim the lead.
What a play from Casting and GIDEON. 2v3, finding the window to challenge, and KT convinced, okay, they're cross-mapping, we'll just keep pushing. It's not like they can really do anything. Get absolutely decimated in the fight. We'll see this play in the top lane first. Casting ults Perfect, chases him down. And even though he ults so he doesn't get pulled back, he's already closed distance, he's already done a lot of damage, and Teddy just cleans it up with the culling. But the big one is this play in the bot lane. W shield from Nautilus already down, he burns the Aftershock as well, so they're actually able to put a ton of damage into him, and even with the locket, doesn't survive for that long. And the problem is GIDEON flashes away, kind of have to drop aggro essentially, so he can re-engage later, and they can't cut through Casting in time. He still had barrier, he gets the remount. The sustained damage just isn't available for them, especially not this early in the game. And the fact they get all 3 kills there, Titanic Hydra now finished for Casting, they're in such a phenomenal position.
Yeah, this is actually kind of ridiculous for the bros. With just that one play alone, they get themselves the largest gold lead in the game so far. Problem is, you know, BDD is still massive, still has the lead himself, will be a massive threat later on in the game. But I think that Roamer has been just fine, despite the fact that BDD picked up that kill very early on. Does have his rod stacking a little bit earlier. I think the Anivia is just more than happy to start putting ice down in this mid lane and clearing out waves over and over again.
I mean, that's the thing. We know the Anivia value later. Obviously, Ryze has a ton of value later, but I think the Anivia can hold him accountable, but has a lot of targets to try and do that too. But it's just one of the unfortunate things of playing Anivia into Ryze is that sometimes it can be tricky to shut him down in lane if you don't get help. And if he roams, he's going to be able to turn the map in his favor. But we know that he will struggle with that lower range into the control that the Anivia has.
Not to mention the fact that Bro have a lot of ways to close the gap. I mean, Jarvan just does it in general as a champion, but Kled with his charge will allow them just to run anyone down.
Yeah.
And with the fact that casting is now 2-0-2, a massive lead here for this Kled, it's going to be a very different story. We've seen some of them fail. Like you mentioned, it's been 50-50 that this Kled has worked out into the Olaf matchups, but when they get advantages like this, it really does start to look like that counter pick that I think Shiu really had the best demonstration of earlier in the season.
I mean, here now, with Barrier in pocket and having the Titanic Hydro completed, Perfect just cannot step up to him at all. And if you go for an all-in attempt, you're going to get honestly beaten up on, so...
And the problem is, it's so hard to gank him as well, because he just gets dismounted and he goes untargetable and then can remount again. The amount of turnarounds that we see Kleds have as well. I mean, there's a lot of trauma that a lot of us LCK commentators have from Broken Blade doing it to us in internationals where we just weren't ready for a Kled pick. Thankfully now we're using it here in the LCK, which may help us in our battle against the LEC in the future. But that is down the line. KT and Bro, two teams that I think a lot of us would agree with what they were talking about in the pre-show with the fact that Bro and KT look like the strongest two teams here in the Ryze group plus bottom of Legend group here in the play-ins. But it's the order in which they qualify is going to be decided here today. And then we'll see whether Nongshim and BNK Fearex can give KT or Bro a run for their money tomorrow. Well, whichever one gets the right to give them a run for their money, we'll find out tomorrow. And the next day, we'll be facing off. Jiwoo now parked in this mid lane, dealing with Teddy. And you saw it's very nice. Effort came over and hit one minion, and then he's going to leave once again. It's been a pretty quiet game for Cuzz. Unfortunately, just died in that bottom lane play after taking the Dragon. We have 15 seconds on Dragon number 2. And KT want to set up for a play before that does come back up. I think Teddy and Namgung probably pretty aware that this could be a situation.
And this is a bit risky from Bro, just not contesting the control of the Dragon, thinking, hey, we want gold now, we're going to prioritize that. But it's a Chemtech Dragon second as well, so there's a good chance this could be a strong soul. We do see the Nabori Flick Blades coming for Teddy, so some spikes coming through. Maybe they were waiting for those, but they're not really going to get the opportunity to contest it. It's an Infernal Soul, which is obviously a pretty strong one, and Bro will just respond by throwing the Herald down mid lane.
Yeah, there
is ult from Jiwoo to just clear the wave out.
Gets rid of the wave. There will be a Rift Herald here, so they should be able to get a bit of added damage, especially with everyone showing up. See whether they can actually take this, as the fire kick is good onto Effort, pushes him over the other side of the Crystallize.
Yeah, it was crazy, flipping him over the wall.
Yeah. Maybe that's a Milio and Anivia interaction that we're just learning about now.
Yeah, I remember like so many times seeing like Vayne and Anivia, but well, not that often. The Vayne and Anivia bot lane being a really fun combo to play because like them into the wall, but the Anivia Milio tech is something that I haven't seen.
I'm learning about it here now. See whether it actually means something, because that one was not necessarily consequential. The Bros retain a bit of an advantage, though, after taking all of those plates in the mid lane. Only one plate remaining here, as GIDEON looking for an angle towards Cuzz. And Effort just getting culled here by Teddy. Teddy is going to chase him down, but not able to finish off the kill just yet. Flash still available for this Nautilus, as GIDEON locks down the crab.
Yeah, Bro trying to get some control over mid so they can pressure and finish off this tower. It looks like they've succeeded by taking Effort off the map. Easier to chunk him out than it is to chunk out the MF with the Bloodthirster. But they will put some weakness there for KT. The response from BDD is just pushing the bot lane. He's getting a good amount of gold for himself. Yeah. But I think Bro still happy that they're able to pick up that mid lane tower.
Oh, casting. Looking for an angle towards Perfect here, who is going to get a few plates by beating this one down.
Well, maybe. No, I didn't see an angle.
Yeah, there is Cuzz in the area as well. Bear Trap on the rope does pull back Perfect. Doesn't decide to use the Ragnarok or anything like that to make his getaway. knew that he was not going to be all in upon just yet. As Effort and Cuzz going to be seen on this ward. Casting just goes back thanks to the Infernal Rift.
Wow, this is 5 members of KT, but the top lane is a Kled. This is not an easy dive to pull off.
Well, they're going to go for it anyway. And they do have a lot of people. Let's see whether it's going to work, because GIDEON might be the target they're looking for instead. Nope, they're just going to take the turret. And that is going to be a safer option here. There are no minions, though, so it takes a while. Still, they'll be able to get there thanks to the Void Mites. And Roma will be able to take a bottom outer turret in the meantime. I feel like that was more invested from KT.
Yeah, a lot invested there for KT, and the fact that it's just a 1-for-1, and we still have Roma picking up waves in the bot lane, pushing that wave in. We have mid pushed in as well for bros, so they can reset on their terms. I don't know. Maybe would have hoped to be able to get a kill, but it's just so hard to punish the Kled there. So hard to get the value against him and shut him down. But at least they got the tower. That's something.
Yeah. Teddy building towards item number 3. Jiwoo for second item. Armor penetration is something that we've seen a fair few MFs do. Kind of foregoing any attack speed, making sure that their bullet time is doing as much damage as possible in these team fights.
Yeah, it's tricky with MF because crit scales really well with your ultimate, so that's high value, but then you don't really want the attack speed items on MF. You know, you have a lot of built-in attack speed, and you're just not the best auto attacker in general, because obviously you have that first auto chunks out with the double up.
You kind of want to be just swapping targets and stuff like that.
We often see like a collector come in, not even necessarily that early, just because sometimes it's like, what else are you going to build on an MF?
Well, Infinity Edge certainly going to be one of those options, but before that, probably a Lord Doms, something of that ilk. Not a whole lot of healing here on the bros. They do have a Milio, but outside of that, not a massive need for Mortal Reminder, but he could still go it. There is effort with a Bramble Vest, actually, so I think KT believes that there is a fair bit of room for that heal deny. As BDD will be able to push this wave in and head on back. We'll see how close to an actualizer he is going to be. It is 20.5 minutes here in this game, and he's been farming up a Storm. Not exactly a gigantic lead for the Ryze in this game, and is in fact a little bit behind in farm, but the kill and assists will be helping him out. Roma does have his Malignance done as well as his Rod of Ages, and that is actually ticking alongside BDD's quite nicely. I think must have gone back just after BDD put his together as BDD gets to 8, and Roma is still just on 7, but that should tick up before BDD's goes to 9. And it is Mortal Reminder done here for Jiwoo as well. Item number 2.
I think it's something I'm always a bit concerned about when you're playing into Ryze in its current state and you let the game go later, the fact that KT already have 2 dragons, but I think they have tools to potentially shut him down. We are now going into this dragon setup. All flashes available, TP coming in, and they're trying to maintain control off the Banana Brush here and stop HANJIN BRION from moving in.
Yeah, this could be our first honest team fight here in this game. We'll see how well the bros can use this terrain manipulation in order to make it difficult for KT. As Casting just going to be face-checking here as effort goes in, just hits the wall. A little bit unfortunate, finds a great depth charge. Bullet time gets so much damage down, but it's Namgung that helps out his teammates. Casting is going to be dismounted. They're looking to burst him down. He does get taken out, but it's the kill on effort at the same time. Teddy's running amok as he dashes towards Perfect to lock him down. Now Jiwoo is just fighting up against Teddy, gets the egg, takes down the Lucian, and KT wipe out the bros.
This core of KT following up BDD are just able to clean target after target after target. Bro really struggled to push into the space that KT had control of. And now KT looking towards the Baron here. It's Al. They're going to be able to take this out. So I'm going to say dodge away his spray attack, I think he does.
Yeah, the dodge this one.
Yeah.
That does the stuff on the ground. Don't stand in the fire, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at how this one worked again.
Effort kind of botches his early engage, and Teddy does a good culling to keep them kind of at bay up to the side. But Teddy starts to try and get damage down here, gets exhausted, and then is chasing Perfect into this brush over here, and kind of can't hit him because of the lack of vision. Meanwhile, BDD's so aggressive, taking out targets, realm warping in. Jiwoo puts the Anivia into egg, and it's just this mid-80 carry duo for KT. They see a target, they kill a target. They see a target, they kill a target. And executing so well there, while Teddy was just struggling to connect quickly enough and clear through the front line of KT.
Yeah, it feels like KT just pushed up the tempo of that fight a little bit faster than the bros were going to be capable of, and I think the wall just really didn't do too much of anything to prevent the Olaf from finding value, to prevent Cuzz from having a way out without that flash. Let's see whether the bros find another fight, though, as it looks like we are getting straight into it. Cuzz getting burst down, has a spell shield, it's into the backline, goes the Olaf. The wall is decent this time, but casting is going to get mown down. The bullet times from Jiwoo this game have just been phenomenal. And now with the Baron on 4 and 3 dead on the bros, they should be able to get so much structural damage.
Going to be able to pick up a ton of gold off the back of this, and they're so close to massive spikes as well, considering they've just decimated the last 2 fights. The next one should be even more one-sided for KT. Teddy just not able to cut through the bulk in time, and Roma starting to feel vulnerable. This was a fight where pretty much everyone's flashes, in fact everyone's flashes were on cooldowns, and KT really found favor because of that. Now Cuzz could be in trouble.
Yeah, Teddy is going to look for a bit of an angle here, as Cuzz is taking a lot of damage. Let's see, Piercing Light does come on down. He's looking to chase after this Nocturne. Oh, gets a bit of speed from the Cinders. Cinder value, ladies and gentlemen.
One more dash.
Teddy, he's going to get
one. Cinder!
Oh, the Cinder, another one. Teddy gets another one too, though.
Oh, nice snipe.
The minion.
Look at BDD on the map. He has Realm Warp. Was that an overchase? Was that enough for him to get in? It looks like the pings are coming through.
Or was it all a bait? There's Jarvan making his way up, and yeah, BDD is very, very scary. Here's the teleport in from the Kled. Namgung going to be taken down first. He tries to ult himself beforehand. There's the blast cone. Perfect trying to get kited here as Effort throws down the dredge line, but now the culling is going to come through from Teddy. He wants to find Perfect, and he might have to settle for Effort here as they take down GIDEON. Teddy's eliminated, and KT just move up and destroy them.
At some point, you got to feel that the chase of the Nocturne just went on too long. BDD comes in, and with an actualizer with 3 items, there is no way they can handle him here. This is that earlier fight we're going to have a quick look at. And they just dive in with the Nocturne, and the threat of the Olaf as well makes it so uncomfortable for the Anivia.
Speaking of uncomfortable Anivias here, sir, she is dead once again. Effort will be traded.
Die for it. Yeah, in that last fight, it was actually GIDEON like cataclysmed Roma in with Perfect, which,
oh no,
you know, was not ideal. And now 7,000 gold lead. KT will just demolish these structures if they want to push anymore, but looks like they'll back off, seeing the respawns coming in from Teddy. They feel no pressure in this game to force things right now. They are so strong right now. And this is that chase. You know, Cuzz using the Cinders, kiting away, playing into the Fog of War as well. Teddy not having Blue Trinket. And then when he finally gets him with a snipe, you can see all of KT on the map converging. BDD moving in, and they feel so confident they can take a fight here. And the big thing as well is Namgung ends up being the sacrifice, which is objectively the right call, but the Lucian loses so much power being by himself, and then Teddy tries this cheeky move with the blast cone, but it's just not enough. It's just not strong enough when Perfect and BDD are level 16, very bulky. It just does not have the damage.
Yeah, Teddy trying to use the culling to find some value, doesn't really get too much of anything at all, and Perfect, even though he's stuck inside a Cataclysm, he is going to be absolutely fine. Having a look here at Roma, who is trying a little bit of a cheeky maneuver there, but I mean, Effort has just found the angles over and over again, and Jiwoo is just looking phenomenal here on this Misfortune. I really thought that this was going to be the part of the map that was going to go against KT. We haven't seen Jiwoo and Effort find all that much success, but they have looked great. They weathered the storm in the bottom lane, and I think that Jiwoo has had some really fantastically placed bullet times in these fights. He's just doing way more DPS.
Yeah, he's been having massive value in the team fights, and this lane strategy of, oh, I'm chunked, I'll just run back. Oh, I'm chunked, I'll just run back. He definitely got his steps in and was able to survive the lane and get to this point where he's just monstrously strong. The Bloodthirster means he can't really be poked.
And you can't get that strategy banned out with Fearless as well, because he can play Hecarim next game. And it'll be totally fine.
Yeah, why not? At this point, we've seen so many things bot lane. Why
not?
Why stop? Why stop here? Yeah.
Who else runs really fast? Rammus and Hecarim.
Rammus, Hecarim bot lane.
Not together, because Jiwoo needs to play them so he can run really fast.
Right.
To get back to the lane.
Okay, I hear it. So Rammus bot lane instead of support, like Beryl did.
Yeah, perfect. But he has to be the one farming though. Yeah. We'll have to work out how the lane is going to work. I'm sure it's going to be great though, whatever it is.
12 seconds on that next dragon, and without the Baron right now, it's a bit difficult for for KT to push in and siege. I think just move the dragon, secure that. I don't think Bro will challenge. I don't think they can, which feels bad. It's a third dragon. You'd love to contest this, but they're not in a position to do so, especially when Teddy's approaching that IE spike. Now you can start to play towards the Baron, and honestly, something I wish that Bro had done, you know they're going to go for the dragon, take that time to get some vision down on the top side of the map, because instead Namgung has been hanging around with Teddy, as Milio likes to do, but there's just no vision here for Bro. And it's going to make it so hard to contest. GIDEON is trying to fish here with the flag, but he doesn't have wards to place down. And there's just a complete void in that Baron area. KT could start it at any time, and Bro would not know.
Well, I think they're going to try and start it basically as soon as possible. I think they know exactly how powerful they are. As GIDEON moving up with his sweeper, spots effort out, knows that they are not on it just yet. But KT is still threatening. And the Bros now finally going to group up, see whether they can get rid of some of this vision. We'll see whether KT just start a fight at the start of this, as there are just sweepers all over the place.
Yeah, Flash is back up and available, so a bit more safety for Roma on this Anivia. Be able to just play the distance. GA also picked up from GIDEON.
Could actually be a bit of a big deal here. Finding that item spike and being able to make his way out onto the Rift once again.
And he still doesn't have the IE though, and that's such a big factor. BDD's got a completed Zhonya's.
Oh, God.
KT are so strong, and they are fishing for this. If they push up too far with the Nautilus, with the Nocturne, it's very easy for KT to engage.
Oh, there's the depth charge. It's onto Teddy in that backline as they are looking to dismount this Kled once again. Realm Warp doesn't really do too much as the bullet time comes down one more time. It's BDD off on the side. Teddy's going to find the culling. Look at that massive shield, though. GIDEON taken down to that GA already. Roma just barely survives as he looks to get himself out, but the Jarvan not going to be so lucky. And the Bros are lucky to just lose their jungler, but because they do, they'll also lose the Baron.
It's just so hard to deal with a Ryze right now. Oh, Teddy trying to clear that ward in a bit of danger. Can just cut it out. It looks like KT felt like they burned too many resources, are still concerned. Even with the jungler down, don't want to get trapped into a pit. Oh no, Teddy.
I don't know whether you're allowed to do that. There's the flash fire kick here as Teddy gets his barrier, decides to go back in as the Kled is able to take down the Olaf, but it's a triple for this misfortune. And Jiwoo is just not getting respected in these fights. He's doing so much damage.
And Bro, you'd done what you needed to do. You'd stopped them from going for the Baron. I think this play was a mistake going beyond this. This play initially, we see them kiting back. The bait from the Realm Warp was pretty nice. They all sort of move to try and respond to it, and then the Paranoia bullet time comes in. But look, they actually try and get onto BDD. Look how much damage he takes, and then the Actualizer's shield comes through. And bear in mind, he still had Zhonya's as well, and there's just no way you were able to deal with him. Teddy tries to find the damage, but like I said, the short-range Lucian's so hard to play in these team fights. So hard to find angles. He gets chunked out here, has to disengage, but then sticks around, looks for the kill. I remember, he was so close to completing an Infinity Edge, and he opted against finishing it here. They opt to fight when the Baron wasn't on the cards, and now KT have picked up that objective. Yes, Teddy has the Infinity Edge now, but you're 10,000 gold behind.
Yeah, Jiwoo has an Infinity Edge and then some. He's got himself a scope for both of his guns as well. I'm sure you get one each. That's a pretty high value item. Looking for his GA as item number 5. And it's just an Elixir of Wrath and a Dream here for this Lucian. And even though, like, Perfect has only got one kill this game, Cuzz as well, it's not been about them. It's about BDD and Jiwoo and how well they've been dishing out this damage in these team fights. And Perfect has just been an annoyance that the Bros haven't been able to answer.
Absolutely. Baron starting to apply that pressure now. Anivia's pretty good at helping to deal with waves, but she's the only person on Bro that can kind of really assist here with thinning these waves out and controlling them. It's a minute until Infernal Soul as well. And once again, there's just no vision for Bro anywhere near where the objective is going to spawn.
I've got an idea of what the Bros want to do. They're going to try and tunnel their way to victory.
Okay.
See,
who's digging the hole?
I think Casting is really starting. He's really giving it an honest shot so far. How many tunnelers do you think you'll need to be able to get to the enemy nexus?
I mean, we could test it with a Rek'Sai.
Ah, that's a good point.
Like 20?
Okay, well, Casting at least turned those 2 tunnelers into something else. It was would have been very funny if you just kept building tunnelers.
Yeah. It's maybe not the winning strategy, but
yeah.
when the games like this, you got to try any strategy. Maybe tunneling was the way.
It's a very good point. And he's built the, what is it, the Warlord something, the set item.
Warlord's Bloodmail?
Yeah, that's the one. It's weird seeing this on any champion that isn't set. But we'll see whether it's going to find him some value here as the bullet time almost cuts Teddy to shreds. Gives you the space to just one-tap this turret. Crystalline Overgrowth helping out as, yeah, GIDEON does not want to do this. Roma would have been there, but I think the Perfect was going to be fine. Didn't have Flash, so maybe Cataclysm and Crystallize could have been a problem. But that is going to be Infernal Soul here for KT. Happy to slow this game down, play it by the book. Not willing to throw anything away, even if they do have almost a 12,000 gold lead. You kind of want to get BDD to a perfect, you know, 8-0-8 type scoreline here as the Paranoia comes in. GIDEON going to be able to get the knock-up here onto Cuzz. That gets rid of him, but they do scare the bejeebers out of Namgung right now.
Able to disengage though, doesn't have to burn anything as well, so you're pretty happy. Now though, they're looking for Perfect.
Yeah, Perfect is just going to walk away, but the Cataclysm will prevent that one from being a possibility. Only one exhaust, unfortunately, so the Olaf will be going down. And now Effort, possibly in trouble, was trying to escape the Crystallize, which was being very frustrating. Finds a stun here, does Roma. And Effort is going to have to back away. No, he just turns it into an engage. Fire kick comes down, the egg is exposed. And Jiwoo takes another one. BDD flashes out of the way and goes golden to avoid death. Teddy is eliminated. The remount comes in from casting, but he's still just going to get mown down here by Jiwoo. Gets another triple. Could even be a quadra as he flashes for it. And KT's AD carry finally having a good time on Summoner's Rift.
Decimation from KT on the back end of this game. They try and find an angle in. They've already gotten a pick on the Olaf, but bro just cannot do anything to turn things around in game one of this series. GIDEON, he's got the GA to try and defend.
Well, let's see what he can do here. He just kind of explodes down to the GA. And the bullet time will be enough to take him out here as Jiwoo gets a pentakill, actually. I was about to say unofficial penta, but it's official as Jiwoo in game number one of this best of 5. A phenomenal performance, 21 KDA on the Misfortune. Turns everything around from what we were expecting in the early game and just demolishes them.
I think that's the thing, is that going into this series,